Good evening, everyone. We will just be waiting for another around 4 to 5 minutes to have some more people join in, and then we will kick off the webinar today. Thank you. All right, good evening, everyone. Also, good afternoon, good morning to the people who are joining us from outside of India. We have a lot of people who have joined in now. And yeah, sounds like a good time to get the webinar going. So again, welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. The goal here today is to help people from the battery industry to understand a bit more about vents, the different types of vents, what technologies are available, and how you can select a vent for your battery pack. It is an overview, and what we would love to do is take this discussion forward and kind of go into various different more technical discussions moving ahead. In this webinar, we are going to cover lot of the basics, and then we can connect one on one to get more into details. We have a few polls that we would like to do prior to starting the going through the deck that we have today. Prithvish, I'll ask you to first go through the polls, and then I'll introduce the speakers today, and we will get into the discussions.
Okay, all right. So we've got two polls. The first one is just to understand your knowledge when it comes to battery venting technology. So we're just going to ask you to rate yourselves for battery venting technology. I'm just launching the poll right now.
So we'll request everyone to put in your ratings on the poll, and then we'll collect the results and share with everyone. We have another poll after this as well before we start the deck. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Thanks everyone for the responses. So we have a fairly mixed crowd today with people who are quite knowledgeable about this subject, as well as people who would like to learn much more. So yeah, it's a good mix, and I think our deck will cover a lot of the basics as well as some of the advanced concepts. So yeah, good to have everyone here. Thank you. We'll launch the second poll as well. Just wait another 30 seconds while the responses are recorded. All right. Thank you, everyone, for the responses. From what we can understand is that understanding why a battery pack needs a vent, how these vents work, That is the key area of interest for most people. Also, there's a lot of interest in different types of PRVs. So, what kind of technologies are available? And of course, towards the end, we have a bit of interest on vent selection and membrane technology. So again, thanks a lot for posting your areas of interest. So we'll try to make sure that we cover these, and we will, when we move to the Q&A section, we will definitely try to answer all the questions that you have on these subjects. So yeah, we'll kick the webinar off. Again, welcome everyone. Good evening, good afternoon, and good morning to everyone here. Um, my name is Shantanu Jain. I'm the partner and CTO at Technology International PorVent. And along with me, I have Dr. Sachin Dakshini.
Hello, sir. Hello, everyone. Good evening, good afternoon, and good morning to everyone.
So he heads our R&D here, and he drives the development of new products, as well as the testing procedures and developing special custom products for our customers. Um, So just a quick overview. I'll go through quick overview about us and the agenda for today, and then Sachin will take over on the more technical slides. PorVent is part of the Technology International Group. We're an Indian company that specializes in material sciences. Essentially, we are a research design and an development company for application-ready products for different applications. These applications can cover industrial, consumer, packaging, medical, and life science. But of course, the key area of interest for everyone today is electronics and automotive. So we have a separate division that takes care of automotive, and EV is a large area of interest for us. We started this journey in 2014, and over the last few years, we have launched different parts of our business and achieved various different accreditations. This includes our ISO 9001, which was early on in the journey. And as of last year, we got our IATF 16949 certification as well. So that's a little bit about us. You also see two other logos on the slide here. One is Porous and one is Oxyfen. Porous and Oxyfen provide us with membrane technology. They are part of the Filtration Group, which is a US company. And most of our products, or rather all of our products, consist of Porous or Oxyfen membranes. I will explain a little bit more about these membranes in a later slide. The Porous facility is located in Scotland, so the membranes come in from the UK. And Oxyfen is on the German-Swiss border, and they manufacture very specialized PET membranes, which are also of high interest in the automotive industry. So, of course, we'll get into more details about this moving ahead. So in PorVent, we have about 100 plus people sitting here in Vadodara, which is our headquarters. And we have more than 300 plus customers, an annual manufacturing capacity of 70 million parts. We export from India to 10 other countries, and our in-house design, engineering, development teams also sit here. So everything is in-house, and we have the capability to develop application-ready products from India. So this map gives you an idea of our footprint. So as you can see, we are based out of the western part of India in Gujarat. We have customers in Southeast Asia, Middle East, parts of Europe, and also we have our close partners sitting in the UK. Stratcairn team is also here on the call, and yes, they help us to work with customers in the UK. The PTFE manufacturing from our partners Porous, they're based in the UK as well, and the other membrane, the track etched membrane, that is manufactured on the Swiss-German border. So this is how we're placed, and really the application engineering is happening in India, while the membrane manufacturing is happening in Europe. All right, so the agenda for today's call. So what's our technology and what are porous membranes? An overview of the different automotive applications. Why do battery packs need a vent, which was a key area of focus for a lot of people. PRVs for battery packs. What is stage one? What is stage two functionality? Types of PRVs for battery packs. There's many different technologies out there. So we would like to give you guys an introduction to these different technologies. What our solutions are, what our skill sets are. Vent selection, testing, and also an introduction to some of our standard products and custom development process. At the end, we will go into a Q&A session. We would request you to share your questions in the Q&A section itself. And we will get to all these questions towards the end of the presentation. Also, during the Q&A session, if you have any questions, just put the raise hand option on the on Teams, and we will try to get you your mic on so that you can ask the question to the entire group. Okay, moving forward. This is an overview of porous technologies. Porous technologies can be applied to various applications, like I mentioned early on. There's absorption, application, diffusion, filtration, reflection, venting, and wicking. So the scope of today's presentation is venting. So battery packs essentially need a breather or a vent. And so that's what we're going to focus on today. But we have many other technologies on the porous plastics front. Moving on to membrane technology specifically. There are three types of membrane platforms that we work with at PorVent. The first one is a porous PTFE. It is called sintered PTFE. The ideal use case for a sintered PTFE is for flex related applications. So in the battery pack industry, sintered PTFE is the technology of choice. Not too many companies manufacture vents using sintered technology. So this is something that is special to us. And it is really very ideally suited to battery pack applications. The other technology is an expanded PTFE. This is also a porous PTFE technology. And this is more ideal for high airflow or high water entry pressure applications. So there are many other automotive applications where expanded PTFE works very well. The last one is a track etched material. This is what Oxyfen manufactures, our partners in Germany. So this is a high precision membrane. The real benefit of this material is, firstly, if you're looking for very precise flow rates, then this is the material of choice. PTFE cannot match the precision of this technology. The other part of the track etched material is that it is PFAS free. So our friends from from Europe and from the US, you would be very much aware of PFAS regulations which are coming in, and PFAS is a chemical essentially which is harmful for the environment. And these membranes, these PET track etched membranes, they can be offered in a PFAS free option. So this is very interesting for anyone who is looking at compliance to these new regulations that are coming in. So PorVent is ready with options for PFAS free, and we look forward to having this regulation related discussions as well with our customers. The products are being developed. This is a fairly new technology, and it offers customers a way to meet the regulatory requirements that are coming in. Definitely, as they move into to US and Europe, there will also be regulations in other parts of the world, and we would like to offer solutions to you which are ready for these regulations. So a porous membrane is essentially a piece of it's a plastic product which has micro-sized pores inside. There are different manufacturing techniques leading to different types of porous membranes, which I shared in the previous slide. But essentially, you have a microporous structure which is very, very resilient. It does not allow any contamination or any dust particles to enter its structure. It also does not allow any fluid to pass through, so it is repellent to water. These are highly hydrophobic materials, and their key USP is it allows for bidirectional flow of air while keeping all these contaminants, dusts, liquids, fluids outside. So that's the key strong point of these membranes. The use cases for us in our industry are thermal management. So wherever you need a pressure equalization and heat venting, you can use a porous vent. The other application area is drivetrain. So there are a lot of drivetrain applications where there is heat generation and pressure generation. This is another benefit of a porous vent. And the last one, which is also the subject for our webinar today, is the battery pack venting. So battery packs face a lot of challenges in the real world, and having a properly designed vent for the battery pack is essential for its long-term stability and long-term performance. This slide gives you an idea of the different applications that we cover. So in powertrain, there are vents that are used in motors, inverters, gearbox transmissions, e-axles, and power distribution units. Also, all kinds of control units, whether it's motor controller, engine, ECU, vehicle control units, any kind of telemetric control units, they also use porous breathers. Sensors and also motors, such as Viper motors, starter motors, will also use a small pressure compensation unit. On the other side, we have instrument clusters, horns, fluid reservoirs like SCR caps. You have onboard chargers, automotive lighting, as well as, of course, battery packs. So all these areas use vents. And again, anyone who drives a vehicle, which is all of us, use vents every day in our life. They're all around us. We just don't know where they are. So it's quite prevalent throughout the vehicle. These are some pictures just giving you an example of the applications. So if you can see there's small, say for the top left corner, you have an inverter. That inverter has a small breather that is installed on the top. So all these products would have a vent integrated in some way or the other. Okay, so getting down to battery packs. Battery packs, we look at venting in battery packs in two stages. So stage one is a general operation of a battery pack, and stage two is in case of a critical fault. Talking about stage one, a vehicle, whether it's a four-wheeler or it's a three-wheeler, two-wheeler, it's going to go through different temperatures throughout the day. It's going to go through, I mean, ambient temperatures throughout the day. There's going to be rain, there's going to be dust. There's going to be a change in altitude depending on where you're driving. So there are many different real world conditions that the vehicle goes through. All these conditions lead to varying differential pressures within the battery pack. So especially if it is a air-cooled battery pack and there is no fluid system, you will have changing pressures within the battery pack. In these cases, having a breather makes sure that the battery remains pressure neutral, which is very important, and I'll cover that in the next slide. The other side, which is stage two, this is during a critical failure. So we know that doing a thermal runaway test for battery packs is mandatory as part of validation of the pack design. When the thermal runaway occurs, you want a reliable, safe place from where the gases can exit quickly without catching fire or without spreading cell to cell. So this is again where the breather or the PRV comes into picture. So stage one, everyday operation, including just the vehicle driving around, being parked, charged, and discharged. And stage two, which is in case of a critical failure. So in stage one, the idea is that it is a constant breather. As I covered in the previous slide, a porous membrane has the ability to do bidirectional airflow, and it is a constant bidirectional airflow. So it does not require a large pressure in order for the airflow to begin. So there's an active equalization of pressure at all times, and the job of the vent or the job of the PRV is to make sure the battery remains pressure neutral. For stage two, again, as I said, emergency degassing. In case there is a quick release of gases, we need an exit point for these gases to move out, thereby preventing the pack from overpressurizing or there being any damage to the enclosure itself. So the PRV makes sure that your battery pack remains ingress protected, so IP67, 68, depending on the requirement of the application. Also, of course, remains splash proof, so IP66 or IP69K is also possible with different PRV designs. You want constant pressure equalization to make sure that the battery housing remains pressure neutral. You want condensation management with the constant change in altitude or change in temperature or charging discharging cycles. There may be condensation formation within the pack. With a properly designed vent, every time the battery heats up, this moist air can be driven outside the pack, thereby preventing long-term condensation within the pack. Performance enhancement in general, if you have a good management of pressure, the seals and other parts of the battery pack, they would last longer. thermal runaway safety, an exit point in case there is an extreme production of increase in gas produced within the pack. Um, these products, these PRVs, are usually designed either with a burst functionality or a valve functionality. So there's something that's either mechanically opening up, or you have a membrane burst option as well. Sachin will discuss that in subsequent slides. And the last part is a rapid gas release. So once these membranes rupture or a valve opens up, it is designed to send out the air in a controlled manner. And these are things that can be discussed at an early stage when the pack is being designed, so that the vent is appropriately sized for the battery pack. Okay, so I'll hand it over to Sachin to take forward the different types of PRVs and the other technologies.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. So we'll take this session forward. We'll start with the types of PRVs used in the battery pack application. So the classification is based on the working principle of these venting systems. So the first one is the membrane burst system. So and the second one is dual venting system. So in membrane burst system, there is a sintered porous PTFE membrane which continuously perform pressure equalization, and it gives a stage one breathing function. In case of the high pressure situation or any abnormal situations, the membrane undergoes burst and it gives a clear passage for a high amount of gases to pass through the vent. So that is stage two functionality, as Shantanu sir just described. In case of dual venting system, there is a membrane as well as there is a mechanical element, maybe in the form of spring or in the form of an umbrella valve. So in dual venting system, the membrane performs stage one breathing, while the spring or umbrella valve performs the degassing function. So PorVent has products in both these categories. We'll see the details of these products in next slides. So we'll go one by one. First, we'll take the membrane burst system. The behavior of membrane burst system in battery pack application can be studied through the pressure airflow graphs. So on the screen, we can see the pressure airflow graph for three of our specific products designed for the membrane burst category. So here we can see on the graph there are two distinct phases of the vent operation, that is stage one breathing and stage two degassing. So initially the membrane performs breathing. At a certain pressure, the burst pin will puncture the membrane and there will be a burst. So when there is a membrane burst, there is a steep rise in airflow, and thus that steep rise in airflow can be seen on the graph, that with this steep rise in the airflow curve. So at that point, the membrane undergoes burst. So and no, after membrane burst, the airflow continue to increase, right? So that is the membrane burst phenomena in this particular category. On the right hand side, we have shown the typical configuration of the part in this category. So the top one is the M14 screw vent and the bottom one is M40 screw vent. So it is important to note the cap design. So in both the cap of M14 and M40, right, there is a pin feature. So in M14, we can see one pin feature, while in case of M40, there are three pins capped in the series. So these pins are helping the membrane to burst. So we'll see some of the unique features of these particular type of products. So the first unique feature is we discussed that there is a presence of burst pin. So that burst pin helps the membrane for early burst. The second unique feature for this particular category of product is the selected membrane, selected sintered PTFE membrane, which has flexing capability as well as burst capability. And the third important feature is the large free flow area available, which helps the large amount of gases to pass through in the emergency situation. The graphics below shows stage one breathing and stage two degassing function, and the graphics on the screen is for M14 screw vent. So on the left hand side, green arrow shows the normal breathing function for the vent, and on the center one, the red arrow shows the degassing. So we can see clearly that membrane undergoes burst, so membrane ruptures and the vent passes swiftly from the vent. And on the right hand side, we have capped the real life images of our products, that is M14, M24, and M40 screw vents. And we can see in all the three vents, there is a clear burst of membrane. And the testing is done at our end in-house at PorVent special purpose testing machine. So this is for the first category of vent, that is membrane burst system. And now we'll see the second category. So that is dual vent system. So in order to understand the behavior of dual vent system also, we can study the graph of the dual vents, that is pressure airflow behavior. So here also we can clearly see the two stages. Stage one is breathing phase, and the stage two is when valve opens up and the large amount of gases can pass through the vent. So as discussed earlier, that dual vent has both the element membrane as well as mechanical element spring or umbrella valve. So it performs both breathing as well as degassing function for the battery pack. So on the graph, we can clearly see the valve opening pressure. So usually this valve opening pressure can be customized, but for our products, so there are two products which PorVent has dedicatedly developed, that is M12 dual vent and M20 dual vent. And usually the opening pressure is around 150 or 200 millibar. But yes, again, this can be customized based on the requirement of the application. On the right hand side, we can see the configuration of the M20 dual vent part. So we can see clearly the membrane on the right hand side in exploded view, and there is a compression spring assembled inside the barrel of the screw vent. So this gives the idea of the dual vent system and its behavior. Now we'll see the typical features or important features of these particular venting systems. So as just we discussed that there is a membrane which performs the breathing function. So that is the unique feature of this particular category. The stage two is sorry. The another unique feature is the selection of umbrella valve or design of the spring. So it is done designed such a way that it opens up at a predefined pressure. So that is the unique feature for this particular category of the vents. And the third is the spring and umbrella valves, which are designed to give required emergency flow rate. So on the graphics, we can see M20 dual vent in breathing phase as well as the degassing phase. So in the breathing phase, green arrow shows the gases passes through the membrane, and on the center figure, we can see the vent open condition and degassing is occurring in M20 dual vent. Apart from the spring and membrane combination, there is possibility to use umbrella valve. So there is a concept of umbrella valve and membrane. The concept is there on the screen. So okay. So these two vents, M12 and M20 dual vents, are designed for small and medium-sized battery pack applications. Recently, PorVent has developed a bigger size dual vent that is called high flow dual vent systems, which is more suitable for four-wheeler application as well as BESS application, that is battery energy storage system application. So here the vent size is big, so there is enough room to place a bigger size membrane. So here the primary airflow available through membrane is also high, and at the same time the free flow area is high. So after vent opens, valve opens up, the airflow rate is also high. So this particular vent is suitable for the bigger battery pack applications. On the top left, we can see the airflow curve for the primary condition, that is through membrane, and on the stage one airflow. And on the right top corner, we can see the airflow for the vent open condition. So this is a bigger and a high flow dual vent system. So we'll move further. So apart from these two categories, we do come across customer requirements for battery pack applications where they need pure breather or pure degasser. So those products are also available at PorVent. So we can see on the screen there is the ivory color product is a pure breather. So there actually there is only a membrane. There is no mechanical element, no spring.
Burst pin.
Yeah, and no, again there is no burst pin feature in the pure breather. So in this particular condition, the membrane will perform breathing function. It may it can burst, but because the burst pin is not there, the burst pressure will be higher, maybe around 2 to 2.5 bar. And that is related to pure breather. Related to pure degaser, so in pure degaser there is no membrane. So there is only a compression spring which gives the required degassing. But the pure degaser has the issue that it cannot give us the stage 1 breathing function. So, but because based on the requirements of the customer, it is possible to have pure breather or pure degaser also. So that is quite possible. So now coming to the another important part of the discussion, that is how to test and validate the vents. So PorVent has special purpose machines developed for testing and validating all our products at our end. Apart from that, all our products are getting validated by the external enable approved laboratory. And we do perform necessary certification for all major performance related criteria for vents. So some of them, some of the important test criteria are there on the screen. So we can start with ingress protection. So it is known to us that the vents must be ingress protected. So it should be IP66, IP67, 68, and 69K. So that is ingress protection from dust and water, followed by thermal test, that is temperature cycle test to check the resistance against extreme low and extreme high temperature. Flammability is to check the fire retardant and fire resistance capacity. Salt fog is to check the corrosion resistance property of the parts in salt mist environment. Mechanical impact is to check the mechanical strength of the part. Vibration test is performed for structural integrity, followed by IPX7. So we do perform IPX7 test after vibration test so that we ensure that the performance of the vent is retained. So there is no ingress protection compromised after vibration. From environmental perspective, we do perform ROHS and ELV testing. So these two tests are from the environmental perspective. So all our products are tested for these environmental tests also. So apart from this standard test, there are series of special performance tests which we do at our end. That is, those are customized tests, and those tests are defined by us. So it is a airflow test. So we have a special purpose machine which gives us airflow in stage 1 breathing as well as stage 2 degassing. So right from beginning to end, we have the airflow curves. So the airflow curves which we have seen today in the presentation, those are generated in-house at our SPM. We have airflow durability test machine and leak durability test machine. So here the objective is to check the performance of the vent in real life condition. So because there are chances that the membrane gets exposed to the muddy water and muddy environment. So here we perform 1,000 cycles of muddy water exposure to the membrane, and we check the airflow before and after, and we ensure that there is no decrease in airflow. So that ensures that airflow is maintained for the vent. So that is airflow durability. Similarly, leak durability is established through enclosure immersion 1,000 times in the muddy water. So that they establish the durability of the vents. Pressure impulse test is also a durability test because there actually we check the membrane performance because after performing the 10,000 cycles of venting, right, membrane still performs as if it is a new vent. So that we check in pressure.
Same for the valves as well.
Yeah, same it is applicable for dual vents also. For springs also we do perform pressure impulse test because it is necessary to check the spring fatigue. Water intrusion pressure test. So there is a special purpose machine for WEP, precisely measuring the WEP for membranes which we are using. We do perform drop test for structural integrity. And membrane burst test, as already we have discussed that to precisely determine the membrane burst. So all these tests are performed in-house at our factory. from battery application perspective, some of our products have been tested against thermal propagation test also, according to AIS 156 standard.
So this was a general battery pack, so not specific customer battery pack, but it was assembled in order to just test how our vents perform. So the setup, you can see the setup on the screen.
Yeah, so the setup on the screen gives us the idea that there is a battery pack. On the battery pack, there is a temperature sensor, pressure sensor, and on the center, there is a PorVent vent is installed. This battery pack is a 5 kilowatt hour battery pack. It is a LFP cell used in battery pack, and the 256 cells were used. And when the test was conducted, the state of charge of this particular battery pack was more than 99% as per requirement of AS 156. And on the right hand side, we can see the target cell location. So the target cell is the central cell of the battery pack. So that was targeted and that was externally heated until it undergoes the TR testing, and undergoes the TR. So after it went into TR, the performance of the vent can be seen. So on the left hand side picture, right, we can see the degassing occurring happening from the vent. That white smoke we can see from the vent in the center of the battery pack. So that is degassing happening, and so we can make it, yeah, larger so that, yeah, okay. So so here, the vent performance can be observed, and on the right hand side, the battery pack, after opening it after 24 hours of test, what is the situation of the target cell? So that shows the this condition of battery pack after test. So after the test, we observed that there is no damage to the battery pack. There was no fire, there was no explosion, and both the vents say to be passed. So we tested two vents in this condition. So it was M14 screw vent and M12 dual vent. So on the screen, we can see the performance of the vent during the test. So the center red line, which is shooting up, yeah, temperature, that is temperature of the target cell. So we can see that target cell temperature goes beyond 400 degrees centigrade temperature, and the temperature is pressure is around 320 millibar. And in that condition, the vent performs the degassing. So that is related to M14 burst pin vent. And
So the main point is that it's being able to manage this pressure very quickly, and that could also be seen visually in the test when we witnessed the test. Similar result was seen in the M12 dual. Uh,
yeah, so M12 dual vent, again the target cell reached the temperature beyond 400 degrees centigrade temperature, and the pressure was around 320 millibar, and degassing was observed in from the vent. So in both the conditions, there was, as I said, that there was no damage to the battery pack, there was no damage, there was no fire or explosion. So both these vents said to pass the test AS156. So now comes the vent selection for battery pack application that Shantanu will tell.
In terms of vent selection, and also just putting a comment here on the testing that was done. So this was specific pack, specific decision that we took to test it in that configuration. But ideally, once we understand how your battery pack is, then we can assist in what kind of venting is required. So that's where our expertise lies. Okay, so pack specific consideration, just to continue on what I was saying right now, there is a lot of things to consider, and the vent design really depends on the pack itself, right? So from the first thing is what is the cell chemistry? An MC, for example, behaves completely different than LFP, and we need to have a different venting strategy for this. The free air volume within your pack is essential to understand. Battery pack dimensions and how its geometry is also an important factor. The capacity of the battery, what size of battery it is, how many cells, and what kind of design. Well, at least high level, we may not need to know the details, but a high level design helps us to understand. A cooling method, as we mentioned earlier, it could be air cooled, but you may also have liquid cooled batteries, or there may be a phase change material within the battery pack. And so again, the vent selection will differ, and not every vent will be applicable to each different type of cooling method. Another thing we need to understand is what kind of operating temperatures you are expecting, especially in mobility. Different types of vehicles have different operating temperature expectations. So this is another important part of the vent selection process. Uh, in addition to the pack level, questions that we the point of discussions that we would have, there are also vent level, vent specific considerations that are important. Firstly, is that at what kind of degassing rate are you expecting the vent to perform? So different customers will have different SOPs for their degassing rates. So we need to understand this so that the vents can be designed or configured accordingly. The vent orientation, whether it's top mounted, side mounted, bottom mounted, this also may play a role in how the vent is selected. Just to give you an example, in three-wheeler applications, usually the battery is more exposed as compared to a four-wheeler or a two-wheeler application. In these cases, if the vent is bottom mounted, it is better to go in for a metal vent rather than going in for a plastic vent. So these are parts of the way, the reasons why we ask these questions. The vent material, as I mentioned, we have a plastic material, so PA6, PBT, all fire retardant plastics are available with us, which are standard for the automotive industry. In addition to this, we also work with stainless steel, we also work with aluminum. So these are other metals that are available with us. Free flow area. Again, we have worked with multiple customers in different parts of the world, and a free flow area is a very important consideration. How much area is available for the gas to actually move? Because especially for smaller packs, the vents are quite compact, and being able to get maximum free flow area is of very high importance. So this is another important discussion. Vent fitment. We currently have screw-in vents as a very standardized option, but we also have designs where a bayonet type of integration or a multiple 4-point or 6-point screw integration or a snap fit kind of design can also be done. So there are various ways for the vent to fit into your pack. This can be discussed at an early stage when the pack is being designed. So we can design a vent that gets integrated in the most seamless way possible for you. And of course, the last part of vent specific considerations are any custom requirements. So some examples are regulatory pressures. So if you have a regulatory requirement of having a PFAS free material, then we have to select membranes and materials accordingly. We have also worked with customers where they would like a certain amount of recycled content in the vent. So that is something which we need to consider. Also, we have had discussions where customers would like to have a stainless steel mesh at the bottom of the vent. This is mainly to protect any hot particles from exiting the pack during a thermal runaway. Really, the reason for the fire is the hot particle moving outside the pack and then getting exposed to oxygen and eventually catching on fire. So again, stainless steel meshes or certain such custom requirements can also be addressed by our team. Standard solutions, our customers buy materials from us in rolls where they integrate the membrane into their packs at their side, at their end. We can also provide cut discs to customers so that it's easy to integrate for them. And of course, ready to use parts are our specialty. Screw in, snap fit, as I mentioned, bayonet. There are multiple options that we have. And multiple ways of integrating into the pack. So integration is not something which that cannot be addressed. If you have a special integration challenge, then this we can address this. And as we have mentioned throughout the deck, we are really custom product developers. So we have a set of standard products, but we are happy to work on custom developments. We have a very specific way that we go through our design process, and it follows the expected norms that any of our OEM customers may have. So yeah, we'd love to take those discussions forward if there's ever any custom product requirement. So I think that concludes most of the information sharing aspect. We would like to take the last 10, 12 minutes left on the call today to answer any questions that you have. The Q&A section is open. And if you raise your hand, then we will unmute your mic so that you can ask any specific questions that you have in an audible way, so others can also hear your question. Please go ahead. We're happy to answer your questions. Prithvish, you can take it from here.
Yeah. So we already have some questions from attendees in the webinar. So should we just start?
Yeah, we can start from there and then as more questions pour in. Yeah.
All right. Okay. So there's one question which says that on the dual screwing in venting system, which uses spring for stage 2, is there any telltale option to allow a technician or an engineer to identify the stage 2 degassing has occurred or not?
Okay. For stage two degassing, actually, this is an extreme condition. So the kind of pressure that is required in the pack for stage two to happen is already an extreme situation. So there will be sensors within your pack that the BMS will have already picked up. So there is no specific telltale thing on the vent itself that lets you know that this has been actuated. Something like this can be probably added through some kind of sensor integration within the vent. But we would imagine that your BMS would have picked this up already. But it is something that can be done. It is not done normally. But yes, surely it can be integrated if that is a requirement.
Okay, so let's head to the next question. So we have three questions from Mr. Sumit. Number one is the current dual vent system capable of meeting wading requirements? For example, can it withstand 1 bar of external pressure for 30 minutes underwater?
So usually we go in the standard IP67 test, for example, is usually 100 millibar of 30 minutes, which is underwater, which is pretty standard. In case we are looking at a much higher pressure, then we can tune the membranes to be able to achieve a even larger water wading capacity. Usually 1 meter of water, which is what IP67 or IP68 can be, is 100 millibar. But if there is a requirement for a higher pressure like 1 bar, then we can tune our membranes to achieve this as well. It is possible.
Okay. Next question is the vent capable of handling gases such as EMC and DMC without affecting its performance or causing degradation over its lifetime?
Yeah, so the membrane is completely, I mean, absolutely inert. And especially the PTFE materials, the PTFE membrane options that we have, they would not degrade. As a matter of fact, this is why those regulations are slowly creeping in, because these are ever polymers and they don't really degrade much.
I'll just unmute Sumit so that he can.
Yeah.
Be part.
Hello. Hi.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Another question is similar to the question two. So here we just talk about any kind of gases emitting from the battery pack, which is so the membrane is capable to handle those gases so that without any impacting the performance, right? So
Correct.
what about the, let's say like water vapors or any kind of vapors
Right.
coming out of the battery pack? So still this is going to be, function same, or is there any degradation in performance over the lifetime?
Yeah, I'll answer that. So there's no degradation in terms of any exposure to moisture, high humidity conditions, or high temperature, high humidity conditions. So the material is rated, most of our materials are rated well over 180 degrees. So humidity and moisture as well as temperature is not a challenge in terms of degradation. The airflow rates also remain very stable in these conditions. And we do conduct airflow durability testing, which we had mentioned earlier. And this also looks at what happens to the airflow under different conditions such as this. So definitely there is no performance degradation that happens. However, depending on the tightness of the membrane, we can control the amount of moisture passing through as well. So if we have a tighter membrane, then very little moisture can actually transpire. While if we have very loose membranes, for example, in the lighting industry, they need loose membranes. So there is a more chance of moisture. So that's how it is.
Okay. And okay, so related to question one, that if we go with the dual vent system, okay, so breathing and then during the thermal runaway, so that is a dual vent system. So as I said, like during waiting requirement, that how that battery pack is going to breathe.
Yeah, so the membrane itself actually, even if you are underwater, even if your vent is immersed in water, it can still
Mhm.
breathe without water ingress. So the membrane can do that, but valve systems, if the valve opens, then obviously there will be an ingress of water. So again, the
Exactly. Yeah.
valves, we only prescribe the valve as a stage two function. We never prescribe a pure degasser, what we mentioned in the presentation, because pure degasser has a risk of
Okay.
opening at a lower pressure and letting water or dust inside. So usually the membrane system, there is no problem. Even if you are actively submerged in water, there can still be exit of gas. No gas can come inside, but surely gas can exit even while submerged.
Okay. So still equalize. Uh,
Yes, yes.
okay. But is there any specific timing that until, let's say, 30 minutes or 45 minutes, that still,
So
breather
that
function
depends on
is
the
not
pressure.
affecting?
That depends on the pressure. So it depends on how deep we go. So 1 meter of water is only
So
100
let's say,
millibar, which
yeah,
is
let's consider for 1 meter.
yeah. So then even means we have vents that submerge for 1 meter. I think
For
days at a time, and we have not seen any water ingress happen. So that for membranes for the membrane technology that we use, 1 meter water is really not much of a challenge.
Any time, any particular until time, let's say like 1 meter, 30 minutes, there is no any
E-
functional
even
issue.
even 1 meter for 3 or 4 days also there will be
maybe
no problem. Yeah, we have vents that we have submerged for multiple days. Even after that also there has not been any water. And that is a function, that is an intrinsic property of the membrane itself, because these membranes are rated for more than 500 millibar of pressure. So that's 5 meters of water. So at 1 meter, it's not even challenging the material.
Okay.
Yeah.
So here we are talking about the PTFE or PTFE expanded.
Sintered PTFA.
Okay, sintered. Okay.
Also, I'll
Okay.
just
Yeah.
quickly answer the third question before we get to
Sure.
some of the other questions that are there. So, thermal runaway, how is the vent protected to prevent metaparticles and flames? So, yes, that's where this mesh comes into play. So, we can integrate meshes into our products so that you can prevent these particles from escaping the system. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
There's a question from Mr. Manjunath, right? We also have an attendee with a raised hand. Yeah.
We just take the
Raised hand. Yeah.
Hello, do you hear me?
Yes. Yes.
Great, great. Thank you for this presentation and this webinar. So I have a couple of questions, starting with the first one, a challenge that I personally faced during previous development. I used to work a lot on centered PTFE membranes, and one of the key challenge I have faced was regarding clogging.
Mhm.
So
So, is
have
this
you?
was this dust clogging?
It was in contact for polyurethane injection. It was to
Okay.
replace a mechanical venting system. We can talk in off later, but it is to replace a mechanical venting system by PTFE, standard PTFE membrane. So there
Mhm.
is the expansion of polyurethane at a certain time. The pores are clogged.
Okay.
Yeah. So were you able to manage the clocking issue with the PTFE membrane, or you have any work on this?
I would imagine that this should not be a big challenge. We would need to understand exactly what we kind of what particle sizes we are dealing with, and one of the strong points of sintered PTFE, also true for expanded PTFE and other membrane technologies, is you can tune the pore size. So depending on the pore size and the surface treatment, you can actually develop quite a resilient material. We have standardized a few of these materials for our battery pack applications, but of course, we can custom develop certain types of membranes that should be able to address your issue. So yeah, maybe we can take that one-on-one. We'll keep a note and we'll reach out to you.
Okay. Second question is, we know that I think all the people here, we know that one key factors for membrane and venting system is the pore size.
Yes.
So, mainly, let's talk. I prefer to talk mainly about the centered PTFE because I know the major advantages versus expanded PTFE. So,
Right.
how do you manage or do you control the pore sizes?
So, in sintered PTFE, so this is a quite technical question. Um, I'll give a very brief understanding, but we will definitely reach out to you to answer this later on. Um, there is a difference between sintered and expanded PTFE. Expanded is surface filtration, and sintered PTFE membranes are depth filtration. So the way you measure pore size is different. Since expanded PTFE is a more common membrane type, most people look at bubble point, but actually bubble point is not the right method to test pore size in sintered PTFE membranes. So we will share with you how this is done and what is the key difference between pore size comparisons between sintered and expanded PTFE. So it's a bit technical, and we have a write up for this. So we will definitely share this with you.
Okay, so I will end with this question. So,
Yes, please. Yeah.
I'm I'm working on the development of using selective membrane for gas separation, etc., etc.
Yes.
And I don't know if you have already developed or worked on making PTFE membrane as a media to separate gas such as CO2, etc., etc.
I think we have had discussions about this in the past, but I think the only parameter that you can really control in terms of selective gases is pore size again. So, if there's a molecule that's quite large, then you may be able to filter it out, but there may not be any other reliable way to do this. Maybe with track etched membranes we can consider this. Yeah, I'm just noting this down. Maybe this is something for track etched membranes because they're much more precise compared to PTFE membranes.
Okay. Regarding your products, I haven't
Yes.
seen, maybe I am wrong, but I haven't seen any marking regarding their suitability for ATEX applications.
For
ATEX
ATEX
application.
ATEX. Okay,
application
I'm
for
not aware of this.
explosive atmosphere.
Oh, this is the explosion. Yeah, yeah. Okay, okay. Yeah, yeah. So K10 certifications. I think it's the certification standard is K10. We do have certifications for K10 for our stainless steel products. That is another thing. Yeah, we can share that with you. Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you again.
Yep. Thank you so much for the questions, Pritish.
Okay, I'm just allowing the mic for Manjuna.
Right. Am I audible?
Yes.
No, I just had a simple question. Like basically you showed us busting type as well as spring-loaded vents. So
Correct.
just wanted to understand selection criteria, when to use busting type and when to use spring-loaded. I mean, you can just give us a brief example.
Yes, yes, yes. So essentially, you are looking at, when you're looking at a dual vent system where you have a very rapid gas release, say, for example, umbrella valve or spring system. This is usually for NMC packs or packs where there's a very high density of cells. And so it will really depend on these two slides, what we had shown, the vent specific considerations and the pack specific considerations. So depending on your technology of your pack, you may need to go in for this kind of a dual system. If not, then a membrane burst system may also work for you, which is usually, commercially it is lower, as well as it's very fast to roll out. So these are the kind of decision making, we have to understand more about your pack to be able to answer. But usually high density NMC packs, you surely need a very high flow rate. And for those high flow rate applications, then dual vents are more suitable.
Got it. So the next question is again the opening pressure. I've seen most of the
Yes.
vents are of like zero point 0.3 or 0.4-ish, millibar. Is there any specific reason all these vents, uh, made to bust at that specific pressure, or it's a general requirement?
Yeah, so usually our vents would be somewhere between 100 millibar to 500 millibar depending on the size of the vent. That's the usual range. Or bit depending on the variant, each variant will have a tight range of opening pressures. But again, like we can customize that. So if there's lower requirement or a higher requirement, then this can be done. But this is just generally what the market has been asking for.
Now, as a customer, if I'm reaching out to you, how do you suggest what pressure to use?
The one very important part is the structural integrity of your pack itself. Secondly, how much
Okay.
pressure is or gas is going to be generated by one cell.
Okay.
Again, it depends on the
Yeah.
cell chemistry also.
Yeah, cell chemistry as well. Yeah.
Sure. So one concern, like, okay, my third question is, if you use EF layer kind of vents, I've seen many vents which are covered with dirt, or the dirt
Yeah.
going into the PTF area.
Yeah.
So that reduces effectiveness of that vent, right? So how do we, I mean, mitigate or control that?
So again, we do this test called airflow durability, and we put through this muddy water cycles, 1,000 cycles, 2,000, 3,000, 5,000, and we test airflow before and after.
Okay.
And you can see that even in a quite a choked up vent, the airflow is quite decent, almost 90% of what it was originally. This is again special property of sintered membranes. They are quite a lot more durable than expanded. So this is where that technology comes in, and those reports can be shared with you, of course. And even
Sure.
if say you do a customer, like customers come visit us, they see our facility, then they are able to see this testing as well.
Got it. Sorry, I couldn't catch up. Where is this facility again?
We are in Gujarat.
Gujarat. Okay, got it. Cool. That's all from me.
Thank you. Thank you.
We
Prithvish,
have a couple of questions from Yash. Number one is, how are IP requirements met in case of threaded vents? Is it preferred to use Teflon tape on the threads?
Usually it's not required, so our O-ring will take care of that. We will have a specific profile that your part needs to meet. There will be a chamfer profile or some kind of profile. So once you have torqued the screw to the value that we have shared in our datasheet, then you are protected from water ingress, water wading, depth immersion, whatever standards that we have committed. Those that part will meet. So yeah, usually not required to put any Teflon tape.
We will provide installation guideline also. Detailed installation guideline is also provided.
Next question from Yash is, does water or dew present over the membrane affect the airflow during the venting?
No. No. So even if there's a very high amount of water or very high amount of moisture, water droplets on the vent or the membrane itself, the membrane being super hydrophobic, the breathing characteristics will remain practically the same. So there is a negligible difference, if at all, any difference.
Any other questions?
This one from Ashutosh. There was a cell photo of degassing performed on LFP 32140. So I believe that was our M14, M14 vent.
So M14 and M12.
M12 dual, yeah, both vents were tested for that. Okay, so I think we don't have any more questions in the Q&A section. Yes, so anything else? So any other questions for us? Of course, the webinar is going to be, will be sent out to the participants so that you can review this deck and slides. And if you have any questions for us, we can definitely answer. But we'd love to answer any more questions if you have at this stage. Yeah, I think it's good. Okay. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Thank you very much, everyone, for giving us an hour and 10 minutes of your time today. Really appreciate it. And it was really good to interact with all of you. We will reach out to you guys, and we will be sending this deck to everyone as well. Please contact us if you have any questions, if you want to learn anything more, or if there's something that was left unanswered, then we'd be happy to connect with you one-on-one. So thanks a lot.
Thank you very much.
Thanks. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Have a nice day.